And I'm helping Fernando with his two things, his re-election to City Council and his election campaign to be the first council person in the 4th District in the city of Whittier. I'm really happy to see everybody here. It's very gratifying to see the size of this crowd. This is a very important election, and your support is incredibly important at this time. So I want to start off by thanking each and every one of you for being here to help with Fernando's campaign. So thank you. Now, this house behind me evidently was constructed. I'm segueing off here, as you can tell. This house behind me was built in 1887. It's the home of Vic and Dennis Carroll. Dennis, and I really appreciate that you allowing us to use this property and see your home. And I think Vic, I personally would like to know a little bit more about this property, so if Vic doesn't mind, if he'd come up here and give us a little bit of the history.
Thank you so much. Welcome everybody, and it's great to see both familiar faces and meet a lot of new faces. And Carol and I have had the privilege of living for the past 9 years, and in fact the house was built in 1887. It's a Victorian, obviously. And Simon Murphy, a name that's familiar to many of you for many different reasons, is the person that built this house. He was a big deal in Detroit, Michigan. In fact, he was the first millionaire in Detroit, Michigan. He hobnobbed with the likes of Henry Ford, for example, and came here to Southern California in the 1880s, and he wanted to develop and learned that there was a lack of water here. So he and his company, he was into lumber, the lumber business, built flumes to transport water in the Whittier area, and built this home in 1887. You might know that some of the familiar places in Whittier are named for him, like Murphy Ranch, Murphy the school, elementary school, I believe, bear his name. And one of the things that's amazing is that this house built in 1887, Carol and I are just the 4th owners of this house. And that's a fact that's not lost on us. When we bought the house 9 years ago, we did it very much with the help of Claudia Todd, who was the co-listing agent of the house at the time, and helped pave the way for us and make it possible. But anyway, there's not a day that goes by that we don't appreciate living in Whittier. My wife Carol grew up in Whittier, went to Pioneer High School, and she's come home full circle, and we'll never leave. We like it here very much, and we are so happy that we can use our home for such a noble cause as this today. And so thank you all for being here very much, and I'm going to return control to Jeff.
Yes, a big round of applause, please. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Mary Dutra.
No, just on behalf of Fernando and I, we'd like to thank you guys for hosting us today and inviting everybody here to help with Fernando's campaign, and we just appreciate it so very much. So, thank you.
Thank you again. Now I'd like to introduce a young lady who grew up in Whittier, who left Whittier for a while to get a pretty good education, I understand, has returned to Whittier. This has been her home She lives in the 4th District, and she'd like to come up here and talk about what she cares about Whittier and what she thinks of Mr. Fernando Dutra. Her name is Nicole Ortiz. Please welcome her.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Hello, everyone. So my name is Nicole Ortiz, and I was born in Whittier. I was born in Presbyterian Hospital, I was raised here. So I went to Montessori, then St. Bruno's, and off to Rosary High School. But Whittier made me the girl I am today, which is an attorney at Chernoff Bedard Echeverria. And so from there, I did all the Whittier programs here. I did WAYS, I did Whittier Girls Softball and the WIN program. So I used the parks many times. I actually got to meet Fernando's daughters, and Sarah and Megan. And so after that, I got to be a social butterfly in Whittier because everybody is so nice and kind and welcoming, and they make you feel like family. So I took that with me to the College of the Holy Cross in Massachusetts, where I played softball. After that, actually, at Holy Cross, I got a great opportunity to work for the U.S. Ambassador in the Philippines, where I lived there for 10 weeks. And then I came back, though. I went to law school in downtown LA at Southwestern Law School. But when it came time to finally making roots and really finding a place where I belong, it was always Whittier. I just became a homeowner here. I know, I'm really young. So to do that is a phenomenal thing. But it was always going to be Whittier. And that's what I really like about Fernando is that Whittier is changing, and younger people are going to want to come here because of the new ideas that Fernando has with the light rail, with the restaurants going up and uptown. And that's why I support Fernando, and I look forward to all the new things he's going to bring here. So thank you so much.
I would like to introduce Mayor Joe Vinatieri. Please give him a big round of applause.
We're ganging up on you. You know that, dude. So what a pleasure it is to be here this afternoon. And Fernando asked us to just make a couple brief remarks, Bob. And then the man of the hour is going to be up. So first of all, let me introduce to you Councilmember Bob Henderson from the 2nd District.
What a wonderful group here today, and it's really appropriate because you've got a great candidate here. I was looking over my campaign literature since I'm running in the 2nd District, and I was kind of amazed. I've served with now 20 different council members in the time that I've been on council. And I will tell you that without a doubt, Whittier has some of the finest people in public office that I have ever met, whether it's in this city or anyplace else, because it goes back way before I got on the council. I grew up in Whittier. I was born and raised here, not in Presbyterian, Mayor Free Memorial. And the city has had a long history of really talented, professional, and business people that have served the city. And as a result, while we've seen so much around us in chaos politically, cities that we used to think were really solid citizen communities, Montebello, Pico Rivera, all of the southwestern area pretty much anymore, have really struggled with problems of corruption, dishonesty, people going to jail, and so on. We've never had a scandal like that in the city of Whittier, and it's because of the community itself, because it's so well rooted and so on. We had the opportunity to replace a councilman, and we were looking around, and I didn't know Fernando before that, and I had a chance to sit down with him on a couple of occasions and talk to him at length and stuff, and And I will tell you that, like the rest of the council, I was sold. This was the guy that we wanted. A man of integrity, a man of family, a man of the church, an immigrant to the United States, believe it or not. He speaks English pretty good now.
Still my second language.
And we are all proud that we have a council that, while we differ and we'll argue and we'll talk about our own positions very freely and very openly, when it's all over, we walk off the dais, we're all friends. And I treasure that. I couldn't have existed there as long as I've been serving this city without that. And so I want to tell you that not only am I proud of Fernando, I'm proud of the whole council that we have. And sometimes when people come in for the first time, they have some rough edges. But I will tell you that I've always known that if you treat everybody with respect and expect the best of them, they measure up. And I have not been disappointed yet. So anyway, one of the best, Fernando, and we're just delighted to see so many people out here supporting him. It's going to be a tough race. I don't want anyone to think that it isn't. This is a new era that we're seeing here. We're getting people now coming from outside of Whittier because they're looking at it as an opportunity to change, to come in and use Whittier as a stepping stone, as a cash cow, as a lot of things, and we're going to have to guard against that. We have some people running in this election. I'm not talking about any particular district, but I'm just going to tell you that are not people that have a history that you would be proud of, and we don't want to see that happen. So all of us are working very hard to make sure that it doesn't happen, and I am actually running for my 10th term only because I want to see this city remain what it was and what it should be in the future. So, Joe?
Thank you, Bob. And here's,
Bob, come back up. Well, now, here.
so everybody knows the mayor pro tem, right?
So I and Joe both grew up in Whittier, went to school in Whittier like Bob, and we're all very proud of that fact, and it's okay that Fernando didn't. He's a good guy. The important thing right now is that Dave's home because he's not feeling well. The important thing right now is we need Fernando, I need Bob, and I need Joe back on the team. And so I need to get all three of them elected. It's been a true pleasure to work with these gentlemen, and I very much support what Bob said about the fact that we'll debate. We may not agree. Our votes are all over the map, but at the end of the day, when we walk off the dais, we're friends and we respect one another, and hopefully that's what you want in your council members. So
Bob kind of said it, Kathy said it, and I know I'm probably preaching the choir here, but one of our concerns is making sure that we keep the integrity and the transparency that Whittier is, and that not other areas of this end of the county has necessarily seen or taken to heart. And one of the reasons why we are who we are is because people watch here, and there's a culture and an ethic of transparency in asking questions. And the minute we don't ask questions, a problem comes. So that's, Kathy talked about team. We actually, right now in Whittier, we have a very good thing going. We agree to disagree. Bob, I still think you're whacked out when it comes to the ficus on painter, but you know what? There's other things that are more important, all right?
Wait a minute, I agree with Bob on that.
Wait a second. You agree with him on that?
He's right.
Okay, see. I'm not going to pull my endorsement.
Okay, please.
But that's one of the things about this town, and it's been generational. It's all about making sure that we keep our values. It's all about making sure the transparency, and yet at the same time we move forward in the 21st century. And there's constantly a balance between new building and that, and not overdoing it, We hear it all the time about traffic now. People don't understand that most of the traffic in Whittier is not Whittier traffic. It's cut through traffic from East San Gabriel Valley and out that way in North Orange County. And yet we get blamed all the time for it. And so we try to be balanced in what we do. And this team is very sensitive to that. And we don't always agree, as some of you have seen. But the beauty of the thing is that we work together. And all the concern is that when it comes to districts and that, and we talked about this, is that potentially you have people who want to come in and influence who don't have a stake or not vested in the community. And we're all about making sure that not only do we do well now, but this ain't about us. This is about Eric Dutra. This is about grandchildren, great-grandchildren, make sure that they have the same thing that we had and we have today. And all I can tell you is that when it comes to that singular purpose, this guy is 150% on board. Ladies and gentlemen, why we're here, Fernando Dutra.
The mayor, huh? One more time for the mayor, our city council, right? I feel like we're having a meeting, guys. Wow, well, it finally came. You know, we've been talking about this this day for a long time, and I was kind of worried the first part of the week, weren't you? It was rained on Monday and Tuesday, if I recall, and that kind of worried me a little bit. But look, I am so thankful that you decided to take a Sunday afternoon out of your life to come spend a little time with me and a lot of our friends that we know here. It's all of you are leaders in your respect in the city, and you're all important to me, which is why you're here. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate it, not just my family, but my friends as well. I want to thank Ernie Hernandez, please. How about our Ernie Hernandez? Right? Everybody knows who Ernie is. If you want to get reelected, you hire Ernie to come play your thing. That's what you do, right? Thank you, Ernie.
100% record.
100% record. You hear that? That's why. I want to thank Vic and Carol Dennis. What an incredible job. This is a beautiful piece of property. I'll tell you, just amazing. And the care that you guys have for not just your home, but the neighborhood is amazing. And we appreciate that. I thank my committee as well, Jeff Brockman and my wife and Ross Guile and Mike. Where's Mike? Mike Sorrell. Mike's around here somewhere. And Gil Rodriguez. Gil couldn't make it today. Gil is visiting his dad in Mexico. He's not well. And then where's Nicole? There's Nicole. You guys heard? It's amazing looking at your replacement speaking, right? So, great job, Nicole. And thank you for choosing Whittier to come back to. We really appreciate it. And if I've left anybody out, I apologize. I don't mean to do. There's so many people working in my community. Where's Sylvia? Sylvia does. She keeps me in line as well. Sylvia's here. There she is, Sylvia. Thank you for being on the team. So many people are part of this team, and we have so many circles of influence. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Sue's joined our team as well. And so I am so thankful that we have a team because we have a serious fight. But before we get to that, just a little bit of background on me. I'm like Bob said, I'm an immigrant. This is my second language, so don't hold that against me, Bob, okay? I mean, I'm still, thank you, I'm still working on it. And I want to thank my parents for choosing to move to the United States and bring their two boys. And I also want to thank them for instilling in us, that we needed to assimilate into this country. And we also needed to be thankful, and we needed to respect that by becoming citizens. And so I became a citizen in 1984, and I highly recommend it. So I do. It's by the way, Mary said that if I married her, I could become an automatic citizen. I just wasn't ready to get married at that time, but we married anyways. Talking about my wife. I want to thank my wife for all the work that she does. And Mary, thank you. For my incredibly three smart kids, I've got these two incredibly intelligent and independent, strong women. Just like her mom, right? I feel like there's three little ducklings walking around. I'm so lucky to have my daughters Sarah and Megan as they're just great influences. And my son Eric. Eric is now at Whittier College. Let's give Whittier College a big hand, Eric. And thank you. Eric's the nerd in the family. He's a historian, and he wants to be a history teacher, currently working at the museum. And when I told him we were having it here at the Simon Murphy home, he did all the research on it. And as we were driving up here, he goes, "Dad, that house was built in 1887, or is it 88?" And he told me the story about it, and he couldn't wait to share that with Vic and Carol. And so, yeah, great story, Eric. So, look, my story is really easy. You know, Mary and I moved to Whittier 30 years ago. And we moved there because we drove around Uptown and we fell in love with Uptown. We fell in love with the character of this city. We fell in love with the people in this city. And, you know, we could have lived anywhere, just like anybody else here, right? But we chose this city because of the character and because of what we see here today, right? Which is why we're all here. We've been residents for 30 years. I got involved with the city 18 years ago. So a friend of mine asked me to join the DRB. I didn't think I'd get picked, but I got picked. So I spent 6 years on the Design Review Board. And then I was lucky enough to get propelled onto the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission was a great opportunity. I served there with Mr. Harry Stone, who's here with Barbara as well. And Harry and I would debate about the size of swales in the middle of Whittier Boulevard. Well, I think one time we spent 3 hours talking about the height of what they should be, but I think we finally, I finally succumbed to 3 feet or something. I don't know what it was. But we liked that stuff, right, Harry? Those are fun discussions. So I spent 6 years in the Planning Commission, and then an opportunity came along for the City Council, where I was honored to be appointed. And then after I was appointed, I was honored to be elected as well. And so it's been about 5 years, going on 6 years, and I can't tell you how it's been one of the best things that's happened in my life is to serve the people of Whittier. It has. And just look around here, right? It's because of the diversified people that we have, and that's why it's so much fun. But look, the things that we've done since then, certainly in my tenure, we've done so many things. We have 2 specific plans we've adopted, and I don't want to bore you with technicalities, but I love this stuff. And Kathy's looking at me going, "Oh God, don't talk about that." But it's true. I mean, think of what we've done, right? We've talked about establishing an Uptown specific plan and the Whittier Boulevard specific plan, and we said that if the residents trust us to spend money on these plans, what will happen is when the economy turns around, the stars align, right? And we look really smart, like we know what we're doing, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Like we had it planned, and that's what's happening right now. Because we had a plan in place, that's why we have all of this new development. That's why you see builders and developers and wanting to come into town. But more importantly, if there's a market, that's why they come into town. They're coming in here and they're building here because there's a market. And the market is that people want to come into our town. And so why are we building so many townhomes and condominiums, apartments? Because there are families that want to move to Whittier, but there's no new stock to give them, right? Think about this, as PIH is growing, as PIH is expanding, and look, PIH has some incredible expansion plans. I don't know if I've shared or can we share that they potentially have a deal to bring a cancer research center into Whittier. So imagine what that's going to do to that area, right? That's going to change that entire area. Thanks, Max. Right? And so it's important for us to have a plan in place so that that area becomes maybe, you know, an area with some more biotech companies come in, and because those are the type of companies that support hospitals. And so we, because of you allowing us to do so, we've spent the money on planning so that we can be out ahead of the curve. And that's what's happening in the city. That's why people want to move into the city. And so many great things are happening. We're also spending a lot of money on infrastructure, and that's near and dear to my heart as well. You know, I tell everybody, it's not sexy to replace storm drain, sewer, and water. It is to me. I think that's sexy. But, you know, but if you don't do that, then you can't support that new development, right? It's no different than saving for money to replace the copper pipe in your house, right? It's the same thing. If we don't save the money, if we don't replace the copper piping in the house, or if we replace the storm drain, sewer, water in the street, then what's going to happen? It's all going to blow up. We have 70 to 80-year-old infrastructure. It's our job, it's our responsibility to tell you that we have to replace those pipes. And so that's what we're doing. Not sexy, but really, really important to the city. Now look, is everything perfect? Of course not. We have traffic issues on Whittier Boulevard. And by the way, last week I walked about 15 houses. And, well, no, I started out wanting to walk 15 houses. I only got 2 in because I started talking to people. And before you know it, I'm having a beer with the guy in the garage talking about the irrigation system. You know, maybe I shouldn't be mentioning beer. I'm sorry, Kathy. He was drinking beer. I was watching with a lemonade. I had a lemonade in the garage. but that's what happens. And so, you know, so we have issues. They talk about traffic. And just like Joe said, you know, how many of you use Waze? Right? Look at that. Everybody uses Waze. Well, guess what? Waze tells everybody to get on Whittier Boulevard if they're crossing from one side of town to the other. Of course, these are great systems, but we understand we have a problem on Whittier Boulevard, and we're doing things to fix it. We are working with Caltrans as well as Metro. They have this new system called hotspots, I should say, and we're looking at synchronizing the lights to make the flow through Whittier Boulevard smoother than what it is. And so we're doing things about that. Just so you know, the Nellis project, it has a significant amount of money that's been that's going to contribute towards the development of Whittier Boulevard and that side of town. That will help as well. We're extremely excited about the project Nellis coming in, as well as other projects. Now, let's talk about homelessness. Now look, homelessness is impacting every city in Southern California, actually every city in California. Whittier is taking the lead and has taken the lead on trying to do things, on trying to establish mitigations for homelessness. Ted Knoll is here. He's a partner of ours. We just signed a contract with Knoll & Associates, I think it is. And so we take those issues seriously. We take traffic seriously. We take homelessness serious. As a matter of fact, when us politicians, when we travel to other cities, they ask us, well, we've heard that you guys are doing a great job with your homelessness counts. We heard that you're very active with nonprofits. Imagine this city has 46 nonprofit organizations, right? Something like that, and they all work together. And the city supports most of them. And because of groups like Ted Knoll's groups, we're going to figure out the best way to handle the homelessness, not just in Whittier, but we can be leaders for the region, right? I mean, if you learn something, you do something well, you spread it. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're about in the city of Whittier. So what's my vision, right? 3 things. I want to keep it simple. As simple as I can keep it, of course. I have a way of complicating things. I want to create safe neighborhoods. And I mean that. Everybody gets up here and says, we want safety, right? I think we can do that. I think we're doing that right now, which is why a lot of you, all of you live here, because you believe in the safe neighborhoods we have in the city, but we can do better. And so we're going to go out in the neighborhoods and we're going to enforce our neighborhood watch programs. We're going to support our police force. And we're doing that right now. I think we've elected, or we've to hire 2 more cops, if I recall, right? We chose, isn't that great? We hired 2 more cops. We're supporting our MET teams, our mental health teams as well. You know, in Whittier was Jason. Jason knows that, hey, Jason is one of our police officers. Let's give Jason a big hand as well. Jason knows we treat our homeless with compassion, isn't that right? Just like we would treat any one of us or any one of our family members. And so that's how our city's wired. You know, some people say, well, that's the reason why we have so many homeless is people want to come into our city. Well, I disagree. I think that they come here because they know that we're a good city and they know we're going to take care of them. And so our vision is to figure out a better way to take care of them, how to expand that into the region. And so I appreciate what you guys are doing. And so certainly for me, it's creating safe neighborhoods. It's also you know, protecting our property values. Protecting our property values is extremely important to me as a homeowner. You know, and how do you do that? You know, there's so many different ways of doing it. But before I forget, I want to talk about first responders. And so Jason, being a police officer, is a first responder, and so is our great firemen. They're first responders as well. But I thought about something the other day. People walking their dogs are first responders, right? Because if they see an issue, they call the police officer or they call the fireman, and they are the ones sometimes that see things happening on the streets. It's so important that we leave that line of communication wide open to individuals that call us and let us know what's going on. So to me, that's an important aspect of our safe neighborhoods. Protecting our values, well, we do that by reinvesting, right? Reinvesting in our streets, reinvesting in our storm drain, sewer, and water, like I spoke about before, reinvesting in our public community buildings, right? We just went through the library initiative. Unfortunately, it didn't pass, but at least you know where our minds are. At least you know that this city is interested, not just interested, but it's willing to do something about what our public buildings are, especially our library. So I can tell you that we have other plans for the library as well. We're working together as a team, and we'll figure that out. But to me, it's important that we reinvest in our parks, recreation. You know, Nicole said it. She belonged to the Win Club. How many of you are familiar with the Win Club? Raise your hand, right? Look at this, right? And my kids went to the Win Club as well, and they were at Anaconda Park. And so we appreciate all of those programs, and as long as I'm around, and I know this city council, we're going to continue supporting those programs that bring up young people like Nicole and bring them back because they appreciate that connection, right? So we appreciate those programs. The other one is, you know, increasing community engagement. For me, that's always been important. So I want to be able to go out into the community and do neighborhood talks. I enjoy doing that, listening to the people in the neighborhood, listening to young people like Nicole and all of you, and so you can give me your ideas and your comments about where we should be going and what we should be doing. So community engagement is very, very important. I would prefer to go to you and have you talk to me about your issues than you come up to the city council and say, I've never seen you, I don't know who you are, you know, I have to come up here every week and spend 3 minutes talking to you. Am I going to get ejected out of this place? No, I'm just kidding. You know, I would prefer that I go out into your neighborhoods and I do that. So community engagement is very, very important to me. And I'm not just talking about it, I mean it. We're going to do that. We're going to go out into the community and spend more time and supporting our local nonprofits, right? Our city would be nothing without the volunteer people in Whittier, without our nonprofits. And so I am so thankful for all of our nonprofits. And this city council supports the nonprofits like, you know, unlike some other cities that do not. This city supports our nonprofits, and as long as I'm around, that's something I'm very, very passionate about as well. And so I made some notes because I went back and forth about what I would be saying. Like I said, I think all of you here could choose to live anywhere in Southern California, and I can appreciate that. But you choose to live here because there's something special about our town. To me, I'm running because I want to make sure that this city remains the shining hill on the hill, shining city on the hill, I should say. It sounds a little corny, but to me it is. It's a shining city on the hill. And I want to strive to be the best city we can be. I want to strive to have the best schools, strive to have the best streets, the best shopping, the best restaurants, right? The best everything that we can do that the city council can give you. I can tell you that that's what I want us to do. And it's going to take work, right? It's going to take energy. It's going to take dedication. And I can't do it without you, right? We can't do it without you. We need your work. We need your energy. We need your time. And it all goes back to hard work, right? We know that. And I can promise you that if you work hard, you'll get the same thing from me. So I want to thank everybody for coming out today. And please, let's win this. Oh, great idea. Where they at? You know, speaking about safe neighborhoods. So Whittier, you know, it's one of the things I left out, and I actually had written it down. This past Thursday, I don't know how many of you saw it in the newspaper or read about it or saw it on the news, the initiative to keep California safe started right here in front of City Hall. Imagine how important that is. We had district attorneys and county attorneys come from all over the state. We had from Kern County, Napa, Orange County, where else? Tulare County, Ventura County. They came right here to City Hall. If I forgot anybody, I apologize. But once again, thanks for taking time out of your Sunday afternoon, and let's make this thing happen. Thank you.